Now, my final guest needs no introduction.
This is my boss, Jonathan Hart, a self-made millionaire. He's quite a guy. This is Mrs. H. She's gorgeous. She's one lady who knows how to take care of herself. By the way, my name is Max. I take care of both of them, which ain't easy. Because when they met, it was murder.
Please welcome Stefanie Powers. Stefanie, you're very welcome. Lovely to see you.
It is lovely to be here again.
Looking not a jot different.
Oh, thank you, you silver-tongued devil.
I've been glued to this. I'm not funneling you at all, because it's story after story of all those things. Remember, we did a lot of things that we didn't know either. For instance, the advice you received on your first divorce from Ava Gardner and... Well, I won't tell the story. Tell me the story.
Well, actually, it's sort of appropriate because in light of what's recently happened, my first husband, God, doesn't that sound terrible?
Sorry. I felt dreadful when I said it.
Husband, yeah. My first husband and I had agreed to divorce, but it wasn't... There was actually always that time period, and I'm sure some of you have gone through this, when somebody has to leave the house, you know, and you're reluctant, and somebody has to make that first move. So I packed up. It was those good old days when I could put all my clothes into my car. Those were the days. And so I did. I put all my clothes into my car, and I knew I was going to my mother's house, but on the way, it happened to be Mother's Day, and on the way, my friend Roddy McDowell was having a party for all the mothers he knew, and some of those he didn't know. He invited me to come along, and he knew what was going on and how desperate I was. And when I entered the house, Roddy was sitting talking to two women over the back of a sofa. And I must have looked like whatever I looked like, something rather bad. And he came over to me and said, "Oh my God, is it all right?" And I said, "Well, I've just left." So he brought me over to these two women, and he said, "Do you know each other?" And I looked at these two women, and I burst into tears, and I said, "I'm getting divorced." And one of them said, "So am I." And the other one said, "It happens to all of us, dear. You look like you need a drink." So am I was Elizabeth Taylor. And You Need a Drink was Ava Gardner.
No, you kept up with Ava Gardner.
Well, Ava and I became solid friends, and she lived here, and it happened that I had after Heart to Heart ended, I had a deal with CBS to do a pilot for a new television series. And so basically it was a sort of Jennifer without Jonathan. And because the dollar was very good value at the time, and we could get great value shooting in England, we invented a role for Ava. And she had never worked in England, and it was John Huston who actually convinced her to trust me, because she had done one role in television in America. She wasn't lit well, she hated the way she looked, she wasn't dressed well, and she said she would never work again. So we promised that we would have the best female cameraman in England, which we did, Tony Imi, and we would have her couture to do her clothes. And I'm sad to say that it's the last piece of film ever seen of Ava, but I'm proud to say that she never looked better.
Oh, bless her. There's also a wonderful story about you. I'm sorry to get story after story, but it's really just rather like that reading the book. Apart from the fact that your chemistry with Robert Wagner in Heart to Heart was obviously tremendous. I mean, you clearly got on like a house on fire from the start.
Yes, but you know, Alan, it's a funny thing. I knew a lot of the people that I worked with, and I knew RJ, but it's not often that you can predict that just because you know someone that you're going to have a rapport.
It'll work on screen, yeah.
And ours was just sort of magical, and neither one of us could predict that.
Was it the same with the Pope?
Yes, we had great chemistry.
Your ancestry is Polish. So
Yes,
there's this
it
lovely
is,
story
yeah.
of you going to meet the Pope and practicing your Polish.
Well, actually, England is very much in and around this story because I was convinced that I knew that I was going to meet the Pope, and actually we were having Mass from the hand of the Pope. And I was with a group of Polish pilgrims who were allowed to be in Castello Gandolfo for this particular event, which was a very simple gathering of Polish pilgrims, about 25 of them who'd come from Warsaw, and me. And so I had my speech all set, because I was determined to speak Polish to the Pope. And I said, jestem aktorka amerykańska, moje prawdziwe nazwisko jest Federkiewicz, jestem wrodzona w Ameryce, ale serce moje jest polskiego. Which means, I'm an American...
Shall I translate? Go on.
I'm an American actress. My real name is Federkiewicz. Although I'm born in America, my heart is still Polish. So I thought, well, that's not too bad. And as I got closer to him, suddenly I was reminded about an event that happened here when I was working at Elstree Borum Wood Studios that doesn't exist anymore. And I was doing a movie for Hammer Films. At the time, Roger Moore was doing The Saint, and Michael Redgrave was working there as well, doing something or other. And so the green room for lunch was very small, and I came in for lunch, and they were all going to. This was on the occasion that I was invited to meet the Queen.
Oh.
And so they were going to teach me how to behave. Michael Redgrave said, let me tell you about the first time I met the Queen Mother. He said, I was determined to tell her, there was when she came backstage, I was determined to rehearse myself so that I could say to her, my name is Michael Redgrave, and I played the part of the captain. My name is Michael Redgrave, and my name is Michael Redgrave. The curtain came down, the Queen Mother came back, she walked straight up to him and she said, oh, you're Michael Redgrave, and you play the part of the captain. And he said, my name is Michael Redgrave, and I play the part of the captain.
So many powers. That's it for today. Tomorrow, property gurus Phil Spencer and Kirsty Allsop are here. Frank Bruno and his daughter Rachel talk about his battles outside the boxing ring. Former Corrie star Bill Ward chats about his star turn in the West End's newest musical, and his co-stars from $1 Million Quartet take us back to the 50s for a performance. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, next